Hi Mustangs, this is Mrs. Price bringing you another math lesson. I'm excited to say we're doing more work with penguins. Penguin problems, joining and separating, story problems. Just a quick reminder, turn to your neighbor means turn to anyone who can listen, or you can talk to your pet, your stuffed animal, a plant, or an imaginary friend. Just make sure your thoughts are out loud. It helps you remember and it helps you learn. Today we will solve addition and subtraction story problems with sums to 20 involving situations of adding to and taking apart with unknowns in all positions. You will use strategies to add and subtract with sums to 20. You will solve for the unknown in addition and subtraction equations involving 3 whole numbers. And you'll make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. Penguin problems joining. Let's read this story problem together. Ready, begin. There are 9 penguins standing on the ice waiting to dive in, and 5 penguins already in the water. How many penguins in all? Let's start off with the 9 penguins that are standing on the ice waiting to dive in. I moved 9 beads over on the abacus, and 5 penguins are already in the water. Turn to your partner and tell your partner how many penguins in all. I see 1 hand is ready, 2 hands, 3 hands. Okay, what do you think the answer is? 9 plus 5 equals, that's right, it's 14. Good job. Penguin problems joining. Let's read the story problem together. Let's go. There are 8 penguins standing on the ice waiting to dive in, and some more penguins in the water. There are 12 penguins in all. How many are in the water already? Well, we know that there are 8 penguins standing on the ice, so let's move 8 abacus beads to the left to represent the 8 penguins that are standing on the ice. And we know that there's 12 total, so let's count on to figure out how many penguins are in the water already. We're going to count on to 12, starting at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That gives us our answer. 4 penguins are in the water. 8 plus blank equals 12. The answer is 4. 8 plus 4 equals 12. Penguin problems joining. Let's read this together. Are you ready? Let's go. There are some penguins hiding behind the hill, waiting to run out and jump into the water. When they join the 5 penguins in the water, there will be 11 penguins in all. How many penguins are hiding behind the hill? Well, we know that there are 5 in the water already, and we know there needs to be a total of 11. So let's count on until we get to 11. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have our answer. The answer is 6. Blank plus 5 equals 11. The blank is 6. Okay. Are you guys starting to get this? Comparing penguins. Let's read this together. 7 penguins are standing on the ice. 5 penguins are swimming in the water. How many more penguins are on the ice than in the water? Well, we know that 7 penguins are standing on the ice, so I have 7 abacus beads on the top row, and 5 penguins are in the water, so I put 5 on the bottom row. I'm going to look straight up, 5 on the bottom, so 5 on the top, and I'm going to separate the extras. We know that we have 5 on the top and 5 in the bottom, and I put a line there. The answer is 2. How many penguins in all? Turn to your partner and tell them the equation you would use to find out the total number of penguins in this picture. Did you say 7 plus 5 equals 12? Then you're absolutely right. Good job. Comparing penguins. Let's read this story problem together. 8 penguins are standing on the ice. 10 penguins are swimming in the water. How many more penguins are in the water than on the ice? How many more penguins would you need to be on the ice to match the number in the water? Well, let's work on our first question. Let's look at the abacus I have at the bottom of the page. We have 10 beads pushed to the left of the abacus to represent the 10 penguins that are in the water. And then I have the 8 beads pushed over to represent the 8 penguins. And they want to know how many more penguins are in the water than on the ice. Well, I could just match up my abacus so that there's 8 on top and 8 on bottom. And doing so, I push 2 over to the left. So the answer would be 2. Or, if I didn't have an abacus, I would take the number 10 and subtract 8. 10 minus 8 equals 2. How many more penguins would need to be on the ice to match the number in the water? Well, that's a different equation. We would have 8 to start with. 8 plus blank equals 10. What is that blank? The blank is 2. So 8 plus 2 equals 10. And the last question is, how many penguins in all? I would like you to turn to your partner and tell them what you need to do to figure out how many penguins in all. Tell your partner the equation Did you get a chance to do that? Okay. Did you say 8 plus 10? Then you're right. And we know 8 plus 10 equals 18. Good job, boys and girls. Comparing penguins. Can you help me read this story problem? 4 penguins are swimming in the water. There are 6 more penguins hiding behind the hill than there are in the water. How many penguins are hiding behind the hill? Well, let's figure it out using the abacus. I moved 4 abacus beads to the left on the abacus to represent the 4 penguins that are swimming in the water. I'm going to move 4 more over to represent the 4 that are hiding behind the hill. Now we know that there are 6 more hiding behind the hill, so I'm just going to add 6 more beads to my 4 on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4 plus 6 equals 10. There are 10 penguins hiding behind the hill. How many penguins are there in all? What equation will we write to figure out how many penguins in all? Turn to your partner and tell your partner what the equation is. Ten plus 4 equals 14. Awesome job. Do the penguin shuffle if you got that right. Penguin problems, separating. We're going to use our penguin friends to help us solve separating or subtraction story problems. Let's go. Penguin problems, separating. Can you help me read the story problem? I appreciate that. Let's begin. 12 penguins were standing on the ice. 3 of them dove into the water. How many penguins were left on the ice? Well, we started with 12, so I moved 12 abacus beads to the left. And now I'm going to move 3 to the right to try to figure that out. So there's 1, 2, 3. So now we have the answer. Turn and tell your partner what the equation was. What was the equation? 12 were standing on the ice, 3 of them dove in to the water. How many penguins are left? If you said 12 minus 3 equals 9, you are absolutely right. Great job. Another separating story problem. Let's read it together. Ready, begin. There were 14 penguins standing on the ice. Some of them dove into the water. Now there are only 8 penguins left on the ice. How many dove into the water? Well, we know that there were 14 to begin with, so on the abacus, I put 14 to the left. We are going to remove 1 abacus bead at a time to represent the penguins that dove into the water until we get to 8 abacus beads left. Let's begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 8 abacus beads left, so that means the story problem must be 14 minus blank equals 8. 14 minus 6 equals 8. Let's move to the next problem. Another separating story problem. Let's read this together. Begin. Some penguins were standing on the ice. 6 of them dove into the water and started swimming around. Now there are only 9 penguins left on the ice. How many penguins were on the ice to begin with? Well, we know 6 penguins are in the water, so I move 6 beads over to the left. We also know 9 penguins are on the ice, so I move 9 penguins over. We took away 6 because 6 dove into the water, and we know that there's 9. But how many did we start with is the question. 9 plus 6 equals 15. We started with 15 penguins. Penguin problems, separating. Let's read this together. There were 11 penguins on the ice. Then 3 of them dove into the water. How many penguins are left on the ice? Well, our math problem is 11 minus 3. So we have 11 penguins that I have over here on the left, and I'm going to take 3 away. How many do I have left? 8. Another separating problem. Solve each of the equations below. Write the answers in the empty boxes. Use numbers, pictures, or words to show how you got the answer. For the first problem, I chose to use baseballs because it's baseball season and I'm missing my Mariners. So it says 20 minus box equals 10. I drew 20 baseballs. Because we have 10 left, I circled 10 to save them for later. I then needed to count how many baseballs there were. To do that, I put a check on each one so that I would know that I counted it. And I counted 10 checks. So 20 minus 10 equals 10. And then we have another story problem, or another picture problem. And this time I decided to use flowers. We had 3 left and we took away 10. So I'm going to add 10 more. I know that I can work backwards. So 3 plus 10 equals 13. 13 is the answer. Another separating story problem. Let's read this together. Are you ready? Let's begin. Some penguins were playing on the ice. Then 10 of them dove into the water and only 8 penguins were left on the ice to start. Use numbers, pictures, or words to show how you got the answer. Well, we know this is math, so we don't have to be real creative. I chose to use circles to represent my penguins. I started with 8 penguins, or 8 circles, and then I knew I had to add 10 more because they took away 10 to figure out how many I started with. So I drew 10 more circles. I then knew I had to add the 10 and the 8 to find out the answer. So I added 8 plus 10 and I got 18. 18 is the answer. Did you get 18 also? If you did, do the penguin shuffle. Oof, whoosh, 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 because they waddle. Wow, we worked on a lot of story problems today. We solved addition and subtraction story problems with sums to 20, with unknowns in all positions. We used strategies to add and subtract with sums to 20. We solved for the unknown in addition and subtraction equations involving 3 whole numbers. We made sense of problems and persevered in solving them. And we looked for and made use of structure. And your job now is to do page 44 and 45. You can take a picture of the pages you do when you're finished and email Dojo or text your teacher so they can see all the great work that you're doing. Have a wonderful afternoon. This is Mrs. Price signing off.